Ah yes, random stat generators, a source of entertainment for many. Whether that's having a quick laugh with friends over stupid weapons or getting inspiration for your own custom weapon making, random stat generators can provide a lot of use. But after playing around with random stat generators for a while, one can notice that it can get rather stale. Comedy becomes old when it's just preset stats and your inspiration is severely limited when most unique gimmicks need, well, unique stats. Like, what am I going to do with a flare gun that gives 10% increased afterburn duration and 50% arrow damage vulnerability? But wait, what if I told you that there was something out there that did the same thing as random stat generators, but better? What if I told you that there was a generator that could make funnier random concepts and provide better inspiration for your terrible concept making? Well, introducing Character.AI. Character.AI is a site that allows you to create a chatbot with a personality based on the text introduction you write. Over here is a joke chatbot I created for a friend of mine, and you can see pretty easily how this AI works. I was having some fun with these chatbots the other day and managed to create a chatbot that creates TF2 weapons. For example, I'm typing in rocket launcher for the soldier and the AI created a rocket launcher. But what makes this generator stand out is that it creates unique stats that do not exist within TF2. Now keep in mind these concepts aren't balanced at all. Some are complete garbage, some literally do not make sense, but they sure serve a purpose of giving inspiration. This thing is insane in terms of the nonsense it can create, such as rocket-powered shields and drinkable gas canisters. And today I'll be going over a couple weapons for each class that I personally found to be funny or interesting. Starting us off is a secondary for the skill called the photo finish. Become like every photographer or a weird hybrid of Aya and Orin and go around snapping pictures of dead bodies. Every new corpse you take a picture of gives you 5 health, and you get a solemn bow effect on wear. The health on snapshot is absolutely minuscule, but the idea of a camera that allows you to take certain pictures for effects can be expanded on. I have no idea how this would even work in-game, but I suppose it's something along the lines of Dead Rising. Not the strongest start, but the idea of skill going around and snapping pictures of corpses sounds funny to me and can be expanded on for some interesting results. A new shovel for the soldier called the Iron Wall. The name doesn't make sense at all. But anyways, the stats on this allow you to heal all the damage you deal while rocket jumping, and any hit with this essentially acts like a watered down caber. The second stat is really odd and probably isn't super practical unless you're doing a weird version of Trollger. Like as a soldier, if you're going to engage in melee combat with what is essentially a weaker caber, you're not going to do very well. The main stat, however, of allowing you to heal all damage you deal while rocket jumping is interesting. I can see a lot of use for this weapon for really any soldier playstyle outside of Trollger. Rocket jumping up, landing a 90 damage rocket, and getting pretty much a free medium health pack is a great utility. There is no downside, which is a problem, but I can see this being a good concept if there were appropriate cons. Also, airstrike soldiers are going to have a field day with this one. Despite being a flare gun with only 2 stats and an extremely odd name, the big stick for the PYRO has a lot of potential. The idea of allowing Air Blast to perform mini rocket jumps midair allows for some seriously wacky mobility options. The secondary stat, on the other hand, is rather disappointing. Getting a kill with a flare that doesn't have any extra damage on burning targets for what is essentially a non-existent speed boost really isn't worth it. But the mobility this weapon offers in the form of changing Air Blast into midair jumps is insane. But once again, why? The name is awful. Why is it called Momiji? Isn't a Shrine Maiden? Nonsensical name aside, the Momiji Shield of the Shrine Maiden for the Demo Man is actually a pretty interesting concept. Trading resistances and melee crits for increased mobility, this shield essentially acts like a rechargeable Shadow Leap to close the distance faster. But to be fair, a large part of Demo's shields are their resistances and crits, so I'm conflicted whether this in its current state is useful. Also, the ammo penalty is extremely odd on a weapon like this, but it essentially forces you to play full Demo Knight. Overall, a pretty interesting idea that could work if changed a bit. Well, Brickiest Brick is going to have some fun with the Flying Brick for the Demo Man. I have no idea if this is a primary weapon or a melee, but you're essentially able to create a stationary platform that lasts for 30 seconds. I assume this platform can be placed like a wall or a platform that can hover midair. An interesting concept. It gives more versatility in terms of how you can place your traps while also denying enemies from entering an area, which can definitely be annoying. And apparently you can throw this weapon and it deals knockback and damage, which is like, okay. I'm not sure Demo gets the most use out of this weapon, but the idea of a class being able to create a stationary platform or a wall would be great for certain classes. Ah yes, my favorite damage type, Bullet.
In all seriousness though, I just found this funny. The weapon itself is kind of lame, so I'm just gonna skip it. And here we get the Cart Pusher, a heavy primary. This weapon does not have any ammo, so you lose out on your minigun, but while you lose out on Sasha, you get Talishka, Heavy's beloved shopping cart. Fire, and you essentially go at the speed of a charging Demo Knight, pushing people back while also dealing damage. From what I see, you don't have a cooldown for this charge, so you can just go pushing your cart around the map completely uninterrupted while ramming into people. I don't exactly know how much damage the dash deals or how much turning control you have, and there's also the fact you can't jump. The idea of Heavy screaming while pushing a Walmart shopping cart at immense speed is hilarious though, and seems like serious fun. An engineer wrench called OK. It's not even trying with names anymore. But anyways, the main gimmick of this wrench is essentially giving your sentry infinite ammo and a 3x damage boost for a couple seconds in return for metal. I don't know what bullet arc is since bullets are hit scan. And somehow, the two downsides do make sense. Slower swing speed makes it so that you need to invest more thought into setting up as well as when to use your all-fire since you can't just repair buildings that easily. And no metal from dispensers mean you can't just camp beside dispensers and get infinite ultra instinct sentry. Of course, you'd have to tweak the alt-fire since you could probably just camp and spawn. A bit unbalanced right now, but the idea of a sentry DPS increase in return for metal seems interesting. We're going over a building this time instead of a weapon. The heavy ammo dispenser does not require metal, so it doesn't need metal when repairing, constructing, etc. It has a 20% larger dispensing radius and heals your buildings over time, at the con of not healing you or your teammates. That is a massive downside since I find dispensers are more useful for their healing and not so much their ammo. But the idea of dispensers healing your buildings sounds like a cool idea that would allow the defensive engineer to focus on other matters outside of managing his nest. I guess we're stopping to analyze the Unstoppable, a medic melee. What this does is it allows you to activate Uber regardless of your charge. This is an extremely useful upside that would allow medics to survive a lot more. However, you also have the secondary stat of being able to pick stuff up and throw them. I have no idea how this would work, but I guess the medic can now just pick up his pocket and toss them forward. You also gain a 40% speed boost while you're Ubered, allowing for much easier escapes or pushes. And all of this is balanced out by no random crits. Ah yes, a perfectly balanced weapon. If this was 2008 and the Gold Rush update didn't release. But Uber at any moment plus a medic with the burly beast flinging his teammates are both fun concepts. And now we have the double tap, a primary weapon for the sniper. The first stat is rather odd. Bullets are hit scan and you can't really delay them. And what do you mean fully charged shots are no longer automatic? Once you get that stat out of the way, the second stat is also mediocre. So if you land a headshot on a fully charged shot, it only deals 33% extra damage, meaning you're only going to deal around 200 damage on a fully charged headshot, which makes charging practically pointless. The third stat is a funny one. Every shot leaves a decoy sniper in your original spot. I don't know when these decoys disappear, but the idea of a million sniper clones around the map sounds incredibly funny. It'd be a troll or nightmare though, don't get me wrong. Just imagine loading into Harvest only to see about 100 snipers on the roof and windows. Probably not a balanced or practical idea, but I laughed at it. A revolver for the spy called the Acting Expert. This weapon fires a smoke bomb projectile that creates a smoke screen, and while standing in the smoke screen you can disguise as an enemy and copy their weapons. And somehow having teammates standing in the smoke screen will also disguise them? The stats are extremely vague here, but the idea of Spy being able to use a smoke screen to temporarily change to a different class's primary weapon is an interesting concept. It's definitely overpowered though. In its current state, you shoot a projectile that creates a smoke screen for presumably a couple seconds. Once you stand in it, you can disguise and your weapons become whatever weapons the person you're disguised as has. So you can literally shoot this at the floor, get the brass beast for a couple seconds, and then dead ringer away before coming back to terrorize the enemy team with a million Scottish resistance traps. This is a watch for the spy called the... Okay, this generator is judging me.
Thank you so much for watching. This is my first video and there may be some minor issues, so it'd be nice to have some feedback in the comments. Also, thank you for Licky for drawing the thumbnail as well as drawing Seki Banky, Fruity Gum, Pop Top, and Red Destruction for providing footage, and Tarion for mostly sticking around. That's all I have for you guys. Adios.